Right. How you doing?
Nice to meet you. How are you?
He's a warrior. That's how I describe him.
I'm just a person that's looking for truth in this life, man.
Muslim.
I was a
Muslim?
Christian for 28 years, bro. I've been a Muslim for the past year and a half.
You converted recently?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, that's even more.
28 years,
Why
bro.
did you convert?
Many reasons, my brother. But,
Can you give me some?
But the argument, the argument I'm going to stand here. The argument, the point I was making, which is what I said before, an inability to understand conceptually the incarnation, the Trinity, these concepts, does not invalidate the historicity of the Gospels.
Fair enough.
Meaning. This is what I was going to say. You didn't actually let me say.
I'm sorry.
This, for example, when talking about the actual facts of history as it relates to the life of Jesus Christ.
Okay.
There are a series of events that are universally recognized by all scholars.
Such as?
Jesus Christ was born around 4 BCE. He was baptized by John the Baptist. He preached and lived in the northern Galilee area.
Okay. I wasn't disputing that. But okay.
Hold on.
But don't end the crucifixion, because that's what we're
Really?
We're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Please don't end the crucifixion.
Before Passover, he was arrested and he was sentenced by the Jewish High Court. He was then sentenced to death by Pontius Pilate and was crucified. These are indisputable facts of history, whether you believe in God or not.
Yeah. Do you know about Ehrman?
These are historical facts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So saying I can't understand the Trinity does not invalidate the historicity
Okay, now I dispute
of
with what you just said now.
To then say,
My goodness gracious.
to then say, a man who came 700 years later then has more perspective on what happened because he claimed divine revelation. Has no basis.
Okay, now to refute that, I definitely disagree with the fact that every scholar and every historian agrees with the invention of the Trinity.
No.
Many.
Wait, why did you jump there? Why did you jump there?
I mean crucifixion. Sorry. I apologise. I'm so sorry.
But you're
I'm
aware
thinking about Trinity. I'm so sorry. That I disagree with completely.
You're aware that most scholars affirm the crucifixion?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Bart Ehrman affirms it, right?
He's not most. Okay, he's
Okay,
one of
Bart
them.
Ehrman, N.T. Wright, Daniel Wallace.
Okay.
I can go through different
That's
scholars.
3,
Okay.
4, 5, 6.
Okay, show me who doesn't agree with it.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, scholarly.
All the Islamic scholars. That's one. The entire Ummah.
Well, yeah, because it's in the Quran.
And then those that you mentioned believe in the Bible, right?
Right. No, these historians don't believe in it because they believe in it because Tacitus says it, Josephus says it, multiple different people at the time recorded
Josephus
it.
said it.
Others as well. Tacitus,
Okay.
Josephus.
Your response to what we just said, that the secular, non-Christian scholars who analyze and are critical of the gospel, who don't believe it's the word of God, have said unequivocally that the crucifixion is a historical fact.
That doesn't make it a fact.
And your response is that Islamic scholars don't believe because they believe in the Quran.
Hold on,
That's not a point.
1 second.
That's not an argument.
1 second.
It's like saying
You're talking too much. Cool down. Listen, Chris, what I'm trying to say to you is this,
Come on, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Then let me talk, please.
I'm just making a point.
No, because you're turning it into a joke. When you start laughing and turn it into a joke, I'll switch to Chris, you know?
Okay,
Keep it respectful, bro. Come on, man.
It's alright. Take care.
Otherwise, bro, it was all good.
Good talk. Let's shut down. What were we saying, bro? What were we saying?
So I was saying that the majority of secular scholarship affirms that someone called Jesus of Nazareth was crucified.
Perfect.
Under Pontius Pilate.
Now, the majority of these scholars that you're talking about, where do they gain their sources from, or their source from? Could it be that these scholars that you're referring to are all referring from the same source? And if that's
the same source is,
let me finish. And if that same source or sources has been tampered with or corrupted, would it not follow by logical default that their deductions are also invalid?
Well, first of all, any form of any like changing of the text doesn't invalidate all of the text.
But look,
so first of all,
my main reason for disputing Christianity in the Bible was not even a scholarly one. You understand?
Okay.
It was more a scriptural one, one of doctrines, which is what I want to talk about.
Alright, sure. Well, we'll go into that if you want.
Because scholars can say a lot of things, you know. Scholars say many things, and their sources we cannot really be sure about. So if you're not basing your salvation as we stand right now on a scholar, are you?
No.
Perfect. So let's not talk about that. Let's talk about scripture. That's what you're basing your salvation on, right?
Right. My salvation.
No, wait, hold on. What do you base your salvation on? Scripture.
My experience that I have witnessed through the Holy Spirit.
Anecdotal.
That's fine. Wait. That's fine. That's fine though.
But it has to be objective, surely.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not. But I'm saying that everyone has their experiences.
Yes.
I would claim that mine are true. Now, I can't prove that to you because we both know that that's something only I have experienced, and I can't really share that with you, right?
For sure.
Likewise, you may have a similar
That's
thing.
how you both have to appeal to something higher.
Right,
We
I
cannot appeal to
appeal.
subjective knowledge.
Fine. Well, I ultimately am going to
subjective
my own
experience,
experience. Right? Because to deny it would be foolish if I believe it's true. But I will also appeal to reason.
I agree.
That's what I
and
do.
logic, yeah. We have to use our brains.
Okay,
Yes,
right.
yes, I agree with that.
So through that, I evaluate the scripture,
Yeah.
and I affirm that the scripture both confirms in my experience and
Okay.
in my reason, and therefore I believe it's true. That's how I get there.
Fantastic. So the point I raised with the other guy was the reason I don't believe in the Bible was because, I mean, Christians would say the Bible says X, you know, so therefore I believe it. But then I raised the point to him that look, a Hindu Vita can say my book says X, so I believe in it. A Sikh can say my book says X, so I believe in it.
Okay.
That's called circular reasoning. So as intelligent human beings, we have to appeal to something higher than that. The circular reasoning is very weak, you know, in terms of finding truth. You understand that logic I've just given, right?
Kind of, but it's not it's not sufficient. So for example, you believe things in Islam, despite the fact it's probably not that reasonable.
No, I believe things which show certain characteristics, i.e. correspondence. It has to correspond with previous messages that have been preached in the same book. For example, if the Bible begins by telling me,
Yeah.
for example, that you know God was a spirit, or God is not a man, and then someone else tells me God is a man, that is a deviation or a contradiction. That's a violation of.
Can I just quick thing there?
For sure.
When was that verse revealed?
Sorry?
You're referring to Numbers, where it says that God is not a man that he should lie.
God is not a man, yeah.
That he should lie. So the whole premise is that basically he doesn't suffer from the same
Numbers.
man.
Even Paul himself in the book of Timothy said, you know, God cannot be seen. You know, he's immortal. You know, he alone is immortal.
Are we immortal?
Pardon?
Are we immortal?
Absolutely not.
You're not immortal.
Nope.
So when you die, that's it. Game over. There's no afterlife. Nothing.
My spirit is, but my flesh is not. No.
Well, wait. So there is an aspect of you that is immortal.
My
Is the spirit you?
No.
The spirit is not you. You don't have your spirit.
No. God. I have a spirit, of course.
And that spirit's immortal.
100%.
Is that spirit you in the afterlife? When you die, that spirit which is you is in the afterlife.
What do you mean? Is that spirit me?
Is that spirit going to be in Jannah? Hopefully.
God willing, I'll go to heaven.
Inshallah, yeah.
God willing.
All right,
What's your
sure.
point?
So my point is you, isn't it?
No, I disagree with that.
So you're not in
What do
Jannah?
you define as you? You? What do you define as you first?
Me,
I don't think you know what you means.
So what I am, my identity, I think therefore I am the rational being. I'm going back to Aristotle.
You're a rational being.
I am the flesh and the spirit.
You contradicted yourself. So
Why?
if you believe you is the flesh and the spirit,
Yeah.
when you ask me is your spirit you, that's a contradiction. When you use
Why?
the word flesh and is your spirit you.
No, both my flesh
How
and
can
my
it be?
spirit is me. Just like your flesh and your spirit is you.
Interesting position.
Why?
Because I think you contradicted yourself slightly.
Why?
Because you say that you defined you, when I asked you for your definition of you,
Yeah.
you included the flesh.
Yes, I do. Yes.
And then when you asked me the question, when you die, is your spirit you?
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So now, which is it? Are you conflating that you to include the flesh and the spirit, or just the spirit?
You know that a singular thing can be a compound thing, right? So for example, you are not
According
just.
to Christian theology.
No.
maybe.
According to philosophy, logic. Let me explain.
According to who?
Philosophy. So
Why?
let me explain
Whose
this to you.
philosophy?
Let me explain.
Go on.
Is this hand you? This
I
hand.
wouldn't say it's me, no.
That's not your hand.
I wouldn't say it's me.
Is that your
It's my
face you?
hand.
Is that face
My
you?
friend, you change the goalpost every time.
No. I
At
need
first
to
you said,
go
is
to.
it you? And
Wait.
after you said, is it your hand? Stick to one position.
No. What I mean is, okay, let's take another example. Your
Yes,
face,
let's do
is
that.
it you?
That was a poor one.
Your
Sorry?
face, is it you?
No.
Your
Part of me.
face isn't you?
No.
So if I took a picture of your face and I went, who is that?
Yeah.
No one would be able to tell me.
You can identify my face, yeah?
Would they know it's you?
What did you mean? I asked you, what did you mean?
If I showed you a picture of you, and I showed this guy and it was a picture of
You're
you,
trying to dumb it
would
down.
you be able to say, oh yeah, it's him? You'd be like, yeah, it's a picture of him.
So is that me?
Yes, it is you.
Okay, by your definition, continue.
Right, okay, so we are not just singular monadic things. We are a compound of things. For example, we are flesh, yeah, and we are also spirit.
Okay.
Do you agree with this? We are
So
both
far-
the
so far,
material
so
and the
far.
immaterial.
So far.
So when we perish,
Yeah.
our flesh perishes, but our spirit does not perish.
Okay.
So our spirit, in the Islamic view, goes to Jannah, yes? Or Jahannam, the one that means hell. If-
Resurrection, anyways.
Right. So what I'm saying, therefore, is that when you describe someone as immortal, you mean there is an aspect of them that will not end. Likewise, with Christ, there is an aspect of Christ that will not end. His spirit,
I think
not his
I think
flesh.
that's a terrible explanation, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
If you're going to use that logic,
Yeah.
then by definition, all humans are immortal? Because
They are, yes.
Hold on. All humans have a spirit.
Yes.
Which will live for eternity.
And you agree with that from an Islamic
hold on,
perspective?
my friend. Hold on.
Yeah.
That will live for eternity in heaven.
Yeah.
Or in hell.
Yeah.
So by definition, we're all immortal.
Yes. Islam teaches this.
Oh my goodness gracious me. Are you gonna let me speak?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, we're having a good one. I'm not trying to be rude, but I have to.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
What I'm trying to say to you is that all humans have an immortal spirit.
Yeah.
Our flesh is not immortal.
Yes.
So when the Bible says he alone is immortal, are you telling me that the Bible was referring to God's spirit and not God's flesh?
This is interesting. So
Because I don't believe God has flesh.
Let's have a look at the verse, right? I want to evaluate the words. You don't believe God has flesh. All right, well that's a separate thing, right?
But you do.
Yes,
You
I
believe
believe
Jesus
that.
is God.
Yes, I believe that.
And that's
Yes.
a violation of
Why?
an earlier doctrine.
What's the earlier doctrine?
My friend,
What happened to your response? That was
My friend, if your book says-
Hang on, I'm trying to find
the
that
book
verse
says
that you
the creator
mentioned.
cannot be seen.
Do you remember where it is? First, I think it's this. Let's have a look.
What verse are you referring to?
You just put one table and then one table at the
What are you
No.
referring to?
Unless I can't.
The one that says, the First Timothy. You quoted it. First Timothy
16.
And that
1
was it.
Timothy
That
6:16.
6:16.
So you don't even need to ask
16.
who's given the good explanation.
Who alone is immortal and lives in an approachable light. No one has seen or can see
Nobody
him.
has seen.
No one has seen.
People have seen Jesus, my brother. So you know, as a layman, right, that's what I am. I'm a simple layman, right? When I see things like that, yeah, to me, it comes across as a violation of doctrine and principles.
Right.
Secondly, when I get the understanding that the Creator is all-knowing, right?
Yeah,
Has
because
all
that's what I
knowledge.
wasn't sure.
And I've been shown
it,
instances where Jesus
obviously
has
when I
limited
go down,
knowledge.
I don't see
It makes me think,
anything
can this be God?
and then I get here and then see that.
And the point I'm trying to make is that I have more.
Right.
I think there are more deductions that prove Jesus not being God than Jesus being God. I'm not saying you don't have your reasons to believe so. You can
Right.
you can take 1 John, whether it be 1 John 5:7 that
Actually,
infers the Trinity,
wait,
or whether it be
Yeah.
whether it be whatever version.
This is
you choose.
interesting. Do you think the Bible teaches that Jesus is divine?
So you said the growth
What do you mean by divine, firstly?
God.
and it was designed to
Do I
expand.
believe that?
So because something is
I
designed to
believe.
expand,
No, I don't believe on the whole it preaches that. I believe the Christian church preaches that. The church, not
Right.
the
So
institution.
it doesn't come from our Bible.
The institution, sorry.
It doesn't come from our Bible. Is what you're saying.
What's that?
It's not found in our Bible.
That concept of what Jesus being God, no.
Yeah, okay. You know that Jesus calls himself the first and the last, which is an attribute of Allah.
Alpha and the Omega.
Yeah.
Okay, I know this verse.
Yeah.
Let's follow it. Let's go with it. Then.
Okay. So one of the
Even
attributes
if
of Allah.
I don't necessarily believe in the validity of revelation, but let's just say I do for the concept
See,
of this
again,
argument.
you see,
Let's just-
that wasn't
hold
what
on,
I
hold
asked
on.
you though. That's not what I asked you. I asked you, do you think the Bible, as now the Bible, do you think it teaches that Jesus is divine? Okay, all right, okay. So it doesn't matter if you accept it or not. The point is that there is scripture of which Jesus is referring to himself as the Alpha and the Omega. The first one.
According to you.
I can show it you right now. It's Revelation 1:18.
No, I can read it too.
It's also Revelation 22:13.
Pause. I've read
Okay.
this verse too.
Right, so you know
Praise
then
be
the
yours,
Bible
I've read it
says
too.
that.
What
Okay.
I'm disputing
Yeah.
is the interpretation.
But you know, it's fine. You can.
Okay.
Not its existence.
Right. Okay.
Do you understand the
what do you
difference?
think? What do you think that someone can proclaim they are the first and the last? What does that mean?
To be honest with you,
Oh, you feel me then?
As a Muslim, you know who the
it's
first
a
and
tricky
last
one because
is.
I've analysed that. I've read studies pertaining to that. Not only that book, but that particular verse as well. And I've read different,
multiple verses.
exegesis. Yes, I've read different explanations of that verse
Right.
and interpretations.
Of
But
those
personally,
verses, yeah.
I'll keep it real with you, right? I don't actually have a definitive
Roman Empire. In me, 100 years.
explanation for that verse.
Right.
But what I do believe is that even if it does mean Jesus is the first and the last,
When he says he's the first and the last.
yeah,
Yeah.
even if it does mean that, right?
Yeah.
I believe that to be violated in other parts of the Bible. Do you understand? Because as far as I'm aware, only God is eternal. So that's a violation to me, you know?
Well, it's almost as if God isn't one person.
Christianity grew because growth was
The God who created everything, heavens and the earth.
it was designed to expand.
What do you mean, which God is that?
God of Christianity. So my first question.
What about the God of Christianity?
God Christianity.
Well, I'm not a Christian, so I wouldn't say that, but yeah, I know what you're talking. I know what you mean.
Another God.
Pardon?
So it's another one God.
What do you mean another one God? I don't think someone's got a position.
When I said
Do you?
God of Christianity,
Yeah.
when I said that, obviously, there's God of Islam, God of...
Okay, God of Islam then. Yeah, God of Islam.
So the God of Islam is not the God of Christianity, obviously. So if you, to your satisfaction, disprove that Christianity is true, doesn't not in any way mean that Islam is right. If an atheist, to his satisfaction,
male only, military only.
proves that Christians are not true or Islam is not true, doesn't mean no God exists at all.
Let me respond to that. My response to that would be, did they actually prove that, or did they think that they proved that? Because look, if some... Hold on. You've spoken for a bit. Let me... This can't work. Let me speak now, please. I listened for a while.
I talk, but you don't listen.
Oh my goodness. Okay, carry on.
Okay. In fact, if they believe to their satisfaction, I use the word to their satisfaction. I use it twice. That God or gods do not exist. Does that mean they don't exist? It doesn't. It doesn't mean that they define themselves as an atheist.
Okay, fine.
So you're atheistic towards God of Christianity.
If you say so.
So
This is
you
my
would-
position
Not
now.
what I say, sir.
You would need to make a positive
Now, let me
case
tell
for
you my
Islam.
position. Don't presume
Just-
to me.
Can
My
I
position
show
is
you?
as follows.
This is Isaiah 44:6. This is what the Lord says. Israel's King and Redeemer, the Lord Almighty. I am the first and I am the last, and apart from me, there is no God. So in the Old Testament, the Lord Yahweh proclaimed himself as the first and the last, and there is no other God. But Jesus says, I am the first and the last. But he also affirms the God of he's the Father.
But Jesus also says, apart from me, there is no God, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. See that sentence, right? I personally believe that is a contradiction because in
Why?
the gospel...
Like Jesus would have known this,
Oh
by
my
the way.
goodness, you just asked me why. Pause. So very eager. Why do I think that's been contradicted? Because in the earlier Gospels,
To people more. So
Jesus
that's
explicitly
why I
says
say
that he's
the
not
first shall be
God.
last.
Multiple
Can you
times.
show me where?
Hold on, let me finish.
Yeah.
Not only did he say he's not God,
Okay, can you show me?
he was referred to as
That was what
good God.
the Roman people found.
Good God.
Or rather,
What?
good teacher.
Right.
Let
You know Jesus is
let me
called
be
good.
specific. And he says, who am I to be called good? Only the Creator.
Yeah, he calls himself good in John chapter 10.
In John chapter, what did he say specifically?
He says he's the good shepherd.
Yeah.
John,
Yeah,
find it.
Christianity does.
Why does he say he does things not by his will but his Father's will? Why does he always reference the Father? That's my question.
Because he's working in full unison with the Father. That's exactly what
Why
Trinitarianism
does,
is.
what does he mean when he says the Father is greater than I? What
Because
does greater mean?
If you have read Hebrews,
Not to patronize.
you would have understood that Christ himself, being in the exact image of God,
Yeah.
did not consider equality with God to something to be held on to, and took off his robes of righteousness and came down
I think-
and lived a limited life as a
Fair
man.
enough. I think the
They
reason
are
why I'm a
civil.
Muslim is because my interpretation of the English language is different to yours. When I hear somebody say somebody's greater than me, to me,
Yeah.
greater means more than, you know, the opposite of inferior, you know? So when I hear
Right.
statements like this, and then you come and tell me that they are co-equal, or the Trinitarian doctrine tells me they are co-equal, co-divine, to
Right.
me that's a violation, it's a contradiction.
Why?
Sorry?
Reading have multiple meanings.
Yes, yes.
To you, according to my understanding of the English
Yeah.
language, when someone's greater, it means they're of higher position.
Yeah, well, I'm going to make it a case against Islam eventually.
But you
But
can't get through.
Interpret
Yeah.
that, deduce that Jesus is less than God.
Oh no,
Based off your understanding of English, you might deem greater to be equal than. So, which is why you're a Christian. But to me,
the definition you gave actually is the right one for this. It states, so effectively, we do believe that within the Godhead, that there is a differentiation in terms of
Like some two guys have the same name,
being the uncalled cause.
they're different individuals, and Jesus is linguistic and futuristic cause of a lot of it. So I get straight to it. If I'm atheistic neutrally,
He's equal in that he shares the same divine essence. But within the Godhead,
does that
there is
mean
like
Islam has got
other
no
Trinitarian
just to clarify, just to clarify, he came from the Father, yes.
fair play.
Just goes round and round.
That's a good point. Good point.
Fantastic. He was created by the Father.
Islam finds itself again.
No, I am saying created.
Trinity is actually
The
No,
idea
I am
so
saying
it does use the
created.
word
That's my
name
position.
Trinity for God.
Okay, what?
the idea
The
is
word Trinity is actually the Christianity.
Yes,
Historically, the word God referred
well,
to
the Father has been, so has Jesus Christ, the second person of the Trinity, and
Islamic
the
God
Spirit.
wasn't really
Well,
in
but as long
any
as the
person
Jesus
we
himself,
hold
nothing
see.
against the opponent.
So, referring to the God of Christianity as
Based on
the authority
okay,
of
so you've read the Bible,
he actually does
Answer
say
the question.
Trinity
Don't mention
or
that.
God.
okay, so
Very
if you read the Bible, very simple. So you know that Jesus Christ,
That's right.
Yeah, I'll-
Trinity
I'll-
is the cause of everything that ever existed.
Based
As I
off
said,
what
St.
was it saying,
Augustine
bro?
says,
So in the beginning was the Word was the
That was a good point.
God.
Thanks.
And
I'll-
without the Word, nothing
I know,
nothing was
and
made
they
that
being
was not
very
made.
patient.
So everything that was made, the entire reality that we see comes from Jesus, who is the Word of God, the Father.
All right, take care, man.
I guess it comes down to our
Good to
interpretation.
see you again.
All right, nice.
Have a nice day.
According to me, Jesus multiple occasions, reference the Father as being greater,
Can I?
And again, like when I hear statements such as, the Father is greater than I, it's quite self-explanatory. So I do not know how you can.
Well, wait. It is though.
To
Jesus
me
is
anyway,
God
bro.
living in flesh, so
Pardon?
he is limited. Jesus is chosen willingly of his own accord to limit himself on earth.
Yeah, but again, that's a contradiction to me because
Why?
by definition,
Like, a
God
contradiction to me is just
is pause.
relative.
You asked me a question. God cannot be limited. The God that I serve, or the God that I
Wait.
believe. My goodness
Wait,
gracious,
no,
stop
no,
this,
no.
please.
No, my friend. You make a claim. No, it's because
I could talk to you, but he's annoying me.
No.
It's okay.
Bro,
Okay. Times?
Alright, should we do time? Should we do time?
Huh?
Let's just do
I
time.
don't need to do time. It's decorum. Let me just finish my sentence.
No, but
bro.
then, like, how long should you talk before he
But
gets
I'm
to
not.
talk?
I know,
I'm not
I know.
rambling. I think I'm being fair. I'm not rambling.
No,
I'm not
because
rambling,
you're
bro.
saying
Am I
things,
rambling,
and
bro?
then
Be
you're
real,
saying
bro.
things.
I'm not. 2 sentences and I'm done. But you're after the first sentence, he's done.
Okay, let
Just do it.
him do
I'm not
something.
Alright, I promise you I will wait. I will
Please go
promise
ahead.
you I'll
Rambling when
wait.
you're done.
I'll promise you I'll
All
wait.
I was gonna say, bro. I've lost my train of thought, bro. So
go
back
great
on to
then,
be
great
greater
then.
than you. Thank you. So Jesus says the Father is greater than I. That's simple English to me. And according to that understanding, he's inferior to the creator of everything. And I cannot worship Jesus as being the creator of everything when he referenced the creator, God, creating him, being greater than him. It makes no sense to me. Unless I don't understand the English language, which you guys can help me. So help me, please.
You good? Okay. Alright,
Yeah,
good.
I'm done,
So,
I'm done.
first of all, Jesus makes it clear he is God in many places. So in
Where?
John 14:13-14, Jesus says you can pray to him in his name and he will answer your prayers. In Islam, that's shirk. That's point number one. Point number
pause.
Wait, no.
How
You
can
can't.
I validate
Wait.
this?
Hang
Bring
on.
your proof,
Did he not
hold
just complain? Did he not complain that I was interrupting him?
To be fair, you did
You
complain.
literally did the same thing.
Complain. So
No, if
how do
you-
you want it to be done?
Fair enough.
How do you want it to be done? You guys
Ooh.
talk for as long as you want. You want it time. How do you want it to be done?
I'll keep quiet.
Okay, all right. I promise I'll try and be quick. Right. So Revelation as well says that Jesus, he says himself in multiple places, Revelation 1:18 and Revelation 22:13, that Jesus is the first and the last, the Alpha and the Omega. Isaiah 44:6, only God is the first and the last, the Alpha and Omega. Jesus affirms the Father is God. He also affirms that He is God. Where? In the place I said before. John 14 verse 13 and
Speaking
14.
too fast. Slow down.
Well-
Slow down.
Okay,
Don't try to
all
speak all
right
this.
then.
Slow
All
down.
right then. I'll leave it at that then. So there are clear words in which Jesus says He is God.
Yeah, clear words. To me, that's not clear. To me, that is an example of an implicit statement. An implicit statement, you can derive meaning from it, or you can derive meaning into it. An explicit statement cannot be interpreted in any other way, shape, or form. It is as is. Now, when you say something such as, when you refer to, what was the second reference you made?
John 14 verse 13 and 14.
Say it again, please.
So in John verse 14,
Yes.
14, chapter 14 verse 13 and 14,
Yes.
Jesus says that you can pray in His name and He will answer your prayers.
You can
See
pray.
it, you want to see it.
There you are.
Right there.
There you are.
Whatever you ask in my name, if you want to see it, it's there.
Perfect. Two things about that now. If I deem that to be true, let's say it's true now. How are you conflating that to mean that Jesus is God? Even if he says pray in my name, and I agree with that, how does pray in my name equate to I am God?
Okay. Jesus says you can pray in my name and I will answer your prayers. So who's answering the prayers?
Jesus, according to that.
Right.
passage?
So he's claiming to be God then.
No, I'll say it again. If somebody says pray in my name, how does that equal to I am God? They're two different statements with two different meanings.
Focus on the last bit. I will answer your prayers. Is that a divine claim?
It is a divine claim, yes.
Okay, thank you. Then we have just demonstrated to you that Jesus claims to be God in John chapter 14, verse 13 and 14.
Okay.
Thank you. There we go. I mean,
It's not there we go. You can't end it there. That's a bit arrogant.
That there are others you can pray to who can grant your prayer besides God or Allah, for example. Unless you believe that.
In response to that, what I'm going to say is, if Jesus claims that he can answer your prayers, and you equate that to him being God, why do you not take note of the other references or other scriptures which imply Jesus being less than God? Because look, you have a choice here. This is how I see it. You have a choice. Jesus is God, less than God. There are verses which support your point, there are verses which support mine. I believe the verses which support mine are more abundant, so they're higher in quantity, and they're also higher in quality, in the sense that the statements are clear and explicit. The statements which support your position, in my opinion, are weaker and implicit. Now, what my position is this: why do you choose the implicit over the explicit? Why do you choose the unclear over the clear? I can choose verses where Jesus explicitly says, because you're looking at secondary evidence and tertiary. I'm looking at primary evidence directly from. Okay, you know what? To be fair to you, to be fair, I was wrong there. You are looking at first-hand evidence because you are looking at what Jesus said. But in terms of what Jesus said, part of why I don't believe the Bible is because I think there are violations or contradictions in that. When Jesus claims divinity in your segment, and in my segment he doesn't, which segment shall I believe? You know? So to me, that's why I dismiss the Bible completely, because there are conflicts in principle.
okay.
The contradictions in principle. That's why I dispute it, to be honest.
Okay, so I think in some sense you kind of agree that yes, there are divine claims where Jesus does say he's
Fair
God
enough, you
in
can
the
see it as a
Bible,
divine
right?
claim.
The interesting question is, what do we do about that?
No, that's
So
not the interesting question. The interesting question is what I asked.
Okay.
You have to answer what I asked.
Okay.
Why do you choose the implicit verses which support your verse,
Okay.
which support your position,
Okay.
over the explicit verses which support my position?
Okay, so what is it about saying that Jesus answers your prayers that is implicit, not explicit?
Jesus answering your prayers, if it's true, is not the same as Jesus saying, I am God. Let me tell you something, right? If Jesus being God is so important to your salvation, why didn't he say it? Why didn't he tell his mother, Mary, I am God? Why didn't he tell the disciples, I am God? Pause. Something so important to your salvation hinges on this. Why did the Creator not say this? Because the Creator is very clear with many laws and many principles, many let's just keep it as laws. Things that you should do and you shouldn't do, he says clearly, so as to not author confusion. So when it comes to Jesus being God, why did he not say that I am God? Bang. Not only to the people of the land who came to him, he did not say it to them, he did not say it to his mother, his own mother, and he did not say it to his own disciples. But later down the line, the church wants to tell me that he is God. Yet Jesus did not say this to one person. Whom should I believe? Bro, help me, please.
Okay, what you're doing is you're basically saying that something can only be derived if it's an explicit doctrine that has these specific words.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, so what did you just say?
What I am saying is that a fair God will not author confusion. And a fair God, if he wants you to know Jesus is God, would not say it once, twice, or thrice. He'd say it throughout the whole Bible in the most simplest terms. Jesus is God. He would not say it in the form of, I am this and that, therefore pray through me. Because he's left you to make your own interpretation. God is he's the most intelligent, basically, infinitely intelligent. So if really and truly God wanted to tell you Jesus is God, why couldn't he say Jesus is God? Why does he put it in code for? Answer me that.
You spoke for quite a while, by the way.
You have spoke for a long time, mate.
Go for
okay,
it.
right. First of all, the idea that Jesus saying that he will answer your prayers is not explicit statement of divinity is bizarre. Of course it is. Your religion affirms that. What Jesus is claiming there is effectively shirk according to Islam.
Okay.
Second of all, show me in the Quran where it says Jesus in these words is not God. Show me exactly that in the Arabic Quran. You can't find it. No. Well, you just spoke. I let him talk. I'm letting him talk.
Wait a second. You asked him the questions, he's answering them.
He's not answering.
He's answering them one by one. You asked about 4 questions.
Okay, so this is why I reject the very principle that you came with. In order for a doctrine to be established, it has to be said multiple times in an explicit, like, these are the words, way. You do not know your Aqidah. The word Aqidah, you find that in the Quran for me. Find me, for example, where Jibreel goes to Mary. Specifically Jibreel. It's not in the Quran, and yet your deen believes it. Find it where it says explicitly that Muhammad was sinless. You won't find it in the Quran, and yet your deen believes it. Where Muhammad is sinless. Where Muhammad is sinless. Show me where Muhammad is sinless in the Quran. Show me where Muhammad, show me the Miraj in the Quran.
Show you where Muhammad is sinless.
Yes, in the Quran.
You don't mean show me where Muhammad sinned.
No, I know Muhammad
believe
sinned.
that?
The Quran says Muhammad
Okay.
sinned. But do you believe Muhammad sinned?
So asking you to prove a negative.
No, no.
Show me where he's
You can
sinless.
prove negatives, by the way.
That's
That's a
amazing
bad
logic.
philosophical
Show me where
claim.
he's sinless. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Do you believe Muhammad is sinless?
Yes.
Right. Show me in the Quran where it says Muhammad is sinless.
You want an explicit verse that says that?
Yes, like you said, the criteria. If this is a clear thing, it should be said multiple times in these specific words. That's your criteria.
Okay, I'll answer
Right.
that now.
Okay.
What I said should be explicit are doctrines pertaining to your salvation, i.e. Jesus being God. That is a key doctrine pertaining to your salvation. This is merely a characteristic of the Prophet, not necessarily a determinant of my salvation. You're conflating the two. Something which is key to your salvation should be explicit and simple.
Are the 5 prayers key to your salvation, for example?
The 5 prayers?
Yeah, the key.
I'd say they are.
Show me that in the Quran.
Very
Show me in the
important. Very important.
Show me in the Quran 5 prayers. You don't have it. You have
I'll be
3.
real. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
The importance of prayer is highlighted in the Quran, but I can't show you the exact
No,
verse,
but
bro.
show me 5.
I'm not an expert in the Quran.
It's not in the Quran. It's not in the Quran.
I'm not. Huh?
You only have 3 prayers in the Quran. It's 3.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are 3 in the Quran.
Fair enough. Some might say 3. Some might say the Hadith contain 5. My bro, if it does, so be it. I'm not an expert in the Quran. All I'm trying to tell you is this: something pertaining to my salvation.
Are you a Bible expert by any chance?
I'm not an expert in anything. I'm a layman. I'm a layman, bro.
As a non-expert,
I'm trying to find knowledge. I'm a layman.
As a non-expert, why do you then get to just throw away the Bible because it has contradictions? You haven't actually ever read it.
How do you know I haven't read it?
Huh?
How do you know I haven't read it?
I can ask you a question to try and prove it.
How do you know I haven't read it?
You know what? You're the Ark of the Covenant.
You're an interesting man. Answer my question. How do you know I haven't read it?
I can find it right now. Ark of the Covenants, right? You know what that is, right?
I don't want to talk.
What 3 items are inside of it?
You're very strange. So you're wanting to test my biblical knowledge,
yes.
and the moment I don't know something,
Yes.
you deduce I don't know it.
Yes.
Likewise,
Well, yeah, I mean-
likewise, if I ask you a biblical question, and if you can't answer
Yeah.
it, does that mean you don't know the Bible?
I will never claim to have read the entire thing, but yeah, go
I
ahead.
didn't claim to read the entire thing as well.
Okay,
Where are you
cool.
going?
So potentially,
What a weird
before
man.
you left the faith,
Anyway.
you might have actually read the entire thing first before you went.
You're very strange.
Yeah.
A man said to me, if I can't answer a question from the Bible, it means that I don't know. When I reciprocate the same argument, if I ask him
Go
something
ahead,
he doesn't
go ahead.
know, I'm not going to do it, but
Go
I'm
ahead.
trying to show that the ridiculousness of your thinking.
But I'm never
If I
going to
ask him
say
a
that the
question-
Bible is
if I ask him a
incorrect.
question
Not
he
reading
does
the
not
entire
know,
thing.
does that mean he's not a Christian or he doesn't know the Bible? What a weird statement
Well,
to make.
it does mean you don't know. Yes, it does
My
mean.
friend, from the beginning of this conversation,
Yeah.
I said I'm seeking knowledge and I'm not an expert.
But you were a Christian for 28 years, you said.
For you to throw that out there is weird. Chris,
So are you a Muslim
Chris
right now,
does
or
not know
just a
everything
Christian?
about the Bible. He's not claimed to. So why
Do
would
you,
you
do
say
you,
that?
do you know
It's
the Lord's
weird.
Prayer?
Very
Do you,
weird.
do you know the Lord's Prayer?
I think I do.
Can you recite it for me?
Why? What reference does it make? Why are you
I
trying
just
to
want
test
to
me?
know. Because you've been a Christian for 28
28
years.
years is a long time.
28 years is a long time, mate. That's
course it
longer
is.
than
I'm
me.
not 28, yes.
So
You do realize.
can you
realize
recite
people-
just the first part?
You do
for
realize
me?
people convert.
I just,
So you
so
live on planet Earth, right?
in our
So
churches,
does
in
that work to you?
every church, no matter the denomination, we always say the Lord's Prayer.
Okay.
Can you say just the first few lines for me?
What's the essence of that? Tell me.
Just, I'm just curious. If you can't, just tell me you can't. It's fine. I won't mock you or
So
anything. I'm
if
just
I
curious.
can't say the Lord's Prayer, it means I'm not a Christian.
It raises some serious questions about where you were in your faith. Yeah.
So what if
yeah.
I do say, what will the outcome be?
Then at least you know that.
Well, at least you know that. That made me more
I
comfortable.
say, I don't really think I have to validate myself to you
Okay,
guys.
that's
Okay,
fine.
so you don't know.
To be honest.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
But
I
you
mean,
raised questions.
it raises a lot of
It's a very weird
questions.
question.
Not
Very
really.
good question.
The Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer is recited. Yeah.
No, I'll ask you a question about the Bible, and if you don't know, it means you want to. That's a very. That's a
Wait.
very
Muslims do this to Christians all the time.
Yeah.
If,
What do they do?
if a Muslim, an ex-Muslim talks to a Muslim,
Yes.
the Muslim will be like, what is Salah Fat? Oh no, how many rakas in? And they ask him all these questions because it's a way of knowing if they really actually were a
No,
Muslim.
it's not. The closest I've heard to that is maybe a Muslim asking.
I've seen it, Raka. But how many
The
rakas
closest
are
I've
in?
seen to that is a Muslim asking someone to
yeah.
recite maybe Fatiha, because that is a fundamental. So I don't understand
The Lord's Prayer is
I don't understand that
fundamental.
requirement. I know some Christians still today that don't know the Lord's Prayer.
Where do we get the
So where
Lord's
do we go
Prayer from?
there? Pause. I know Christians that do not know the Lord's Prayer. Are they not Christians?
Like yourself?
Are they not Christians?
Like yourself potentially?
How do you know I don't know it?
Because you would say it.
Okay. Well,
Not necessarily.
I think if you knew, you just say
You
it.
think a lot of things, but your thinking is flawed, in my opinion.
So am I wrong?
100%.
You can literally
So
just
say-
show him up right
I
now
don't need to.
by saying like
Because
4 words.
if I do say it, the goalpost will get moved again.
No, we'll concede defeat. We'll concede defeat
You
right
say
now.
you'll
Yeah, I'll
concede
concede
right now.
defeat. Right now.
Swear on your life.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
I'll
go
recite
on.
it right now.
I'll-
Swear on your life.
Yeah,
right
yeah, go on.
now.
Go ahead.
No, not to swear on your life.
The thing about
I'll recite it right now. If
the
you
thing
say
about swearing on your
you're
your
scared now, I
life.
can recite it, but I've chosen not to. I don't need to volunteer myself to this. I'll recite it right now. If you're confident, recite it. Swear on your life.
Well, I'm more issue about
They're
swearing on
quaking.
things. Listen,
I'll give you a hug. If you say
I don't need to touch me.
Well, no, I'll tell you, I've lost this debate, and I'll say it publicly in front of the camera.
I don't
Say
care
no.
if you lost or no. It's
Okay,
not.
there you
It's not
are.
point.
There you
I'll
are.
give you a
There you
hug.
are. Then.
You don't need
I
to.
already do swearing.
Huh?
I'll give you a hug. How about that?
I don't need to touch me though. I won't let you hug me. So I don't want to hug you.
I'll give you a
We will say this debate has been lost. The Christians have lost if you recite it.
It's not about winning and losing. It's about fighting the truth,
on.
bro. It's not about winning and
Cool.
losing. You know?
I don't know what else to give you.
They said you were a Christian for 28 years.
Yeah.
So what was your main reason for transferring to Islam?
Islam, mainly because
We don't think he's a Christian at this point.
mainly because I saw contradictions in the Bible. Contradictions.
You said you haven't even read it though. Ah,
Did you say so?
Is there no contradiction in the Quran?
Not that I've seen so far. The moment I see one, you know, it can question my faith.
I can show you a
So far-
contradiction
so far,
real
it's
quick.
couple.
Real quick.
Yeah, when I show you some, you don't acknowledge them. You always find an excuse for them.
We don't believe that our word is the preserved tablet, basically, so we don't have a problem with
Just
it.
contradictions. That's what it is. What faith do you subscribe to?
Here we go.
I'm learning like you. I'm Muslim, but I'm always learning, like just like
Okay.
yourself.
Alif, Lam, Ra. These are the verses of the clear book.
What's the reason?
Yeah, it's
Why
just
people
mainly
change
because I just saw deviations in doctrine. And
Here's one right here.
What's that?
Alif, Lam, Ra. This is
Okay.
the Quran. This is Surah 12, Ayah 1.
Okay.
These are the verses of the clear book. What does Alif, Lam, Ra mean?
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that's correct, because no one knows.
Okay, so where's the contradiction?
How is it a clear verse in this book if you don't know what Alif, Lam, Ra means?
It's just, I don't know what it. I don't know.
No,
what
no,
it
no
is.
one knows what it means.
What do you mean
No one in the world.
No one in the world?
No one in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one-
That-
no one in the world.
That's why the translators just write it in the literal Arabic. Alif, Lam, Ra. Because they don't translate what that means because it doesn't mean anything.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know Arabic. I read the English Quran, my brother. So that question.
Well, that's fair, that's fair.
That
But
is English. That is English.
I know
Yeah.
it's English, obviously.
yeah.
But still,
But otherwise, I don't know what it means.
the letters Aleph Lam Ra.
It's
are
Arabic,
Random
yeah.
Arabic letters. It's like saying X, Y, Z. And it says X, Y, Z, effectively. These are the verses of the clear book. If the book is clear, but it contains verses that mean nothing, and it can't be clear.
To you, it means nothing. I don't know what it means either.
No, it means no one. No one does.
I guarantee you no one does.
Go
Whoa.
look it up and you'll see.
Well, I'll have to look that up because
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
speaking for billions of people.
Why
my
are you
friend,
so
so-
Yeah,
willing,
yeah.
by the way, to like have a defensive position for Islam, but you didn't have the same position for Christianity?
Sorry?
So when you were a Christian
Yeah,
and
yeah.
somebody brought the contributions to you,
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
say, well, I'm going to go look it up? Or did you say, oh, damn, okay, I guess you're right?
I obviously went to look it up. I studied for well over a year, you know, compared to studying on both.
Which one was it then that
What do
tipped
you
you
mean, which
over?
one?
Which contribution was it that tipped you over?
A combination of them, to be honest.
The number one.
I would say there's a number one or top two, but things that didn't sit well with me
Okay.
personally was Jesus not having ultimate knowledge. He didn't know everything. There are many things he didn't know.
That's not a contradiction, though.
Pause. To me,
Right.
to me, it's a limitation. To me, God is not limited. That's one thing that really made
but the
me think.
Bible says that Jesus willingly limited
You asked me a
himself.
question. What things influence your conversion? And I'm
Okay,
answering
okay.
it.
So it's not a contradiction.
Limit-
it's a
limited
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 thing.
knowledge.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Limited ability.
Okay.
The fact he can die. My God is immortal. Personally.
So is ours.
Where else? That's three I've given you. How many more do you want? And then just general like contradictions in principle. So when you say God is immortal, whom no man can see, you know,
Yeah.
Jesus was seen by many men. Jesus himself, you know, referenced the Creator as being greater than him.
Yep.
I've given you about 6. So when I expand upon those, on a balance of probabilities, I'm led to believe that Jesus is a mere messenger of the Creator, and he's just creation, and he worshipped the Creator. To me, anyway, and my limited knowledge. That's why I converted, bro.
Just so you
That's your
know,
question.
Jesus is not just a messenger in the Quran; he's also the word in the Quran.
Okay, that's fine. Semantics.
yeah, and the
Mr.
spirit from
Semantics,
Allah.
Fantastic. Thanks for adding that. But
Well, the
point
word is
remains
eternal.
the same. The point remains the same. That he's a mere human being.
Well, no, he's the word of
Oh
Allah.
my goodness. Okay, fine. Add whatever you want to it, but I'm studying my
No,
position.
that's the Quran.
A follow-up. It seems that a lot of the questions you had were to do with what we call the doctrine of the incarnation. Did you ever look it up while you were studying? Of the incarnation, so God coming in the form of a man.
I did look it up, and I think that principle, in and of itself, is a logical fallacy.
Okay.
Because of the fact that God, the moment you say He comes as a man,
Yep.
the inherent characteristics of a man are a man can be seen, a man is limited.
Yes.
Men produce waste.
Sure.
Men are limited in their thinking,
Sure.
in their physical abilities. These are the inherent characteristics of a man. So when you say God came as a man, that statement in and of itself to me is a logical fallacy. When you then continue down that chain of thinking and then say that same man was killed by his own creation, you know, that same man was the son of God and God at the same time. How can you be a son and the father at the same time? To me, it blew my mind. So many, I've given over 10 so far, but so many like logical fallacies which when you aggregate them, I had to discard it. To me, you guys, you hear all this and you still, you know, you can reconcile it some way, and that's why you're still Christians. Fair play to you. When I heard the same thing, I couldn't reconcile it and stay a Christian, you know?
Did you ask anybody, do any Googling, watch any videos?
Many things. I spoke from speaking to people in person, so from priests, pastors of knowledge, videos, forums, documentaries, websites, every type of medium you can imagine. I believe I accessed, and I believe I was fair also. So I don't just listen to the Islamic perspective and not just the Christian perspective. I want to know why Christians believe this. What's their main reasoning behind it? You know, I like to think I was fair. And I kept it real because I'm not trying to score points or look for attention. I just want the truth. You know, I know there's a creator. That's what I know. So which path, which religion, is what I, you know, swore to research and look into, you know. And upon my research, it came to the conclusion that Islam was more sound to me, you know. And that's all I can say about that. To you, Christianity is more sound and fair play. But for the aforementioned reasons, I can't follow Christianity. I've given you many, and if you don't want to still agree with those, fair play. But I've given you, bro. Like, what else can I do? I've given you what I believe to be contradictions in doctrine and principle. Logical fallacies, you've given me characteristics that limited men have, and you've attributed those to God. I just doesn't make sense to my brain, you know? When he was killed by his creation, he was crying out to the creator. Yeah, he's the creator. What?
Yes.
What? He was crying out like he begged God to take this cup away from him.
Yeah.
Is he begging himself? Is he begging himself when he says God?
He thinks God is one person.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Modalism.
That's
Fair
what
enough.
he's.
That's what I'm saying, and that's why I disagree with you guys, because you guys accept the Trinitarian concept of God being 3 in 1. For me, God is not 3 entities in 1. God is just one singular, powerful being.
Yeah. So okay, you've gotten it wrong.
Not composed of anything. Not composed of anything. Not composed of a Jesus Son. I'm not composed of a Holy Spirit.
That the Trinity are 3 entities. Only one.
I'm not doing semantics. 3 entities, beings, whatever. 3 things in 1. It's 3 something, isn't it?
It's not 3.
So what's the 3 then?
It's not 3 things in 1.
What's the
It's 3 persons in 1.
Okay, sorry for using the word person instead of things. I'm sorry about that, bro. Let's not use semantics here.
So
3 something inside 1.
You're aware that in Christianity you have something called heresies. Ideas that deviate from core teachings.
The attributing of the divine nature to the flesh is a real issue that a lot of people want to rebut.
Continue.
If you're making the mistake,
And I think it's a very simplistic
the idea that there is one God
is made. And people say it
I
as if it's
disagree.
like
You think I'm doing that? I disagree.
convincing.
I think you are making me. I think you are
Yeah.
making.
I agree.
You're making a mistake. I say why.
Whatever. It's just a low-level statement. It's whatever.
Those are all wrong.
So what's the word then? I should have used.
One being,
Okay, made up of 3 persons. Okay, sorry for using the word being instead of person.
all these words
Well,
have
no.
meanings.
It's important though. It's
All the
important.
words
I
have
used the
meanings.
word. He said 3 persons. I used 3.
Okay. Well, Allah is 99 things.
Okay.
example-
Let me go with your reasoning. He's 3 persons.
Yes,
That
yes,
to me is a
100%.
logical fallacy. Because
Why?
the moment you say God is a person,
Yes.
he's not God. To me, because an inherent characteristic of a person are limited attributes.
No.
Huh?
You're confusing person with human.
Yeah, we're not.
Okay, what is a person to you?
A person is just a character.
A character.
So a character
mind,
that
A character, like in a
with-
movie.
A character with a mind in the world that you present to the world.
So a role.
Huh? No. So a person that a character
Yes.
with a mind and a will that is then the thing that is perceivable by other people. That's what a person is.
A person is a character with a mind and a will that's
Yes.
perceivable by other people.
Yes, yes.
Fantastic.
That's what a person
Is that
is.
your definition?
Yes.
So that's not the
Yes,
absolute
I am.
definition.
Yes,
I can bring it up for you if you want. But
Please.
a person isn't a human being.
I guarantee the person, the definition of a person
corresponds more closely to my opinion than yours. Bring it up now. Oxford Dictionary.
Persons don't mean
Oxford
limited.
Dictionary. Let's use this closer. I'm going to show you up right now.
Well, it depends what you mean, because
No. Forget what I mean. He just
No,
gave
no,
his
no, no,
definition.
no, no,
I gave
no,
mine.
no.
Now we're going to Oxford.
yes, but again, what context?
And what's
Are you
it-
talking about the normal everyday usage of the word person? Yes, it usually means human
No,
being.
wait.
But are you talking about it in a theological context? In which case, no.
We're talking about it in the context in which me and him are discussing, which is
Right.
theology.
So he's talking about hypostasis, which is the Greek word that usually roughly translates to person.
Now we're shifting the goalpost.
No,
Originally,
that's
we
just
were
more
talking
about what we were
the
talking
definition
about.
of the word person. Bring it
Well,
up, please.
there's a lot of them, as always.
So where did you get your one from?
Huh?
Go on,
So the
let's
first one, of course, is a human being, regarded as an individual.
Yeah.
Right?
Because that's how we
But
use it in
then,
normal day language.
If you go down, you have Christian theology.
Oh,
Each
Christian
of the-
theology. Theology.
Yes.
Whoa.
Where's your one?
Theology.
It says the word here modes, which I don't agree with. But anyway,
What source are you using? What website is this?
just regular.
It's the
regular
first thing that came up
Yeah,
when he searched it.
no
Yeah.
problem.
Then in Christian theology, each of the three modes, I don't believe in that, modes of being of God, namely the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, whom together constitute the Trinity. So there are multiple.
Right.
That's not what you
So
said,
that-
though. That's not what you said, though.
I obviously because he's talking
Defines
about.
what the Trinity is. But when I use persons in regards to Trinity, what I mean is.
What you mean? Have you said that? Okay, you can say what you mean. That's fine. I don't care.
Absolutely.
I don't
What
know
I
what you
mean
That's
is
your
a
opinion.
person like you and me.
That's fine.
But what I mean is
Full opinion.
is a being
No
that has
problem.
the ability to purport its
No
will
problem.
and has a mind
No problem.
and has a character that can possess.
That's
the
fine.
world.
You believe this about Allah, by the way?
You give your opinion, I
Wait,
give mine.
Because you believe that Allah is one God
Yeah.
and one person too.
Yes. Yes.
I don't believe Allah is a person.
But Allah has a will and a mind. So
Does Allah have a will and a mind?
Pardon?
Does Allah have a will and a mind?
Have a will?
Yes.
100%.
Does he have a mind?
So he's a person.
The word mind, I have to be careful here because the mind.
Does he have thoughts?
Pause.
Okay.
pause,
Okay.
pause.
It's nothing like
Pause,
it's nothing like
goodness.
creation. It's far beyond creation.
So
but
godly
does he
mind,
have?
yes. A
Right.
mind that we
Okay.
cannot comprehend,
Fine
yes.
then. So.
Yes, I agree.
In order for us to understand and
Not
speak the
human
same
mind.
language,
No way.
I'm going to describe that
Not like a
concept.
plane
Okay.
and that kind of
Okay.
mind.
Yeah.
No way.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
blasphemy to me.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. So in order to us to understand this conversation, I'm going to call that a person. So you believe Allah is a single person, whereas we believe that Yahweh
You're
is
using
three
your opinion
persons.
to define the word person the same way he
then
did.
just-
You
I'm
give your
agreeing with-
opinion-
I'm agreeing with your
you give
definition.
Your opinion. No. But hold on. When you said, when I gave, what started this whole conversation was the fact that I said, yeah, the Trinity,
Right.
three things in one, and then he adamantly
Yeah.
repeated said not three persons.
Yes, sir.
And then when I forced him to give his definition of person,
Right.
it was wishy-washy and it didn't even correspond
it's
with that.
the same with the
It was
Christian
purely
theological-
opinion-based. So for you to pause me, refute my point, and say no, that's not what person means, and you can't even define person.
I
you
defined
failed yourself.
person 3 times.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it didn't correspond with that.
It corresponded with the
It
Christian
did not
theological
correspond
claim that he
with
showed you.
No, the
The
Christian theological.
definition you saw was describing the Trinity. And in the Trinity, the way we use persons is,
Fine.
again, a character with a mind and a will
Fine.
that can present that to the rest of the world. For
That's
example.
fine.
Yes.
According to Christian theology, that's fine. That's fine.
But that's
Okay.
how we use the. So but essentially, there are words that we can use as human beings that when we ascribe them to God, they don't mean the exact same
So you're
thing.
changing the definition of words. You have to be logically
But-
consistent.
No, because all
For
words.
example, they say one means one, but when you're talking about theology or the unity, it can mean three in one. No, one is one.
Wait. Allah has 99 names. So likewise in your religion.
He's 1991.
How many attributes does Allah have?
How many attributes?
Yes.
I'm not too sure.
Okay, at the very
I
minimum
know
he
he
has
has
99.
99 names.
Yes,
Yes.
names and attributes, okay?
Yes.
So he has at least 99 attributes.
least, I'm
right,
happy you
how
said
is he
that.
one and yet also 99?
Yeah.
No one said he's 99 though.
But, okay, are those
No one said
attributes,
it's made up-
are those
nobody said
attributes
it's
Allah?
comprised of. No one said these 99 constituent parts combined to make God. That's the fallacy.
Okay,
that you're
okay, is
mistaken.
al-haq one of the attributes of
Whereas
Allah?
in your doctrine,
Wait.
these three.
Let me explain
persons
this, let me explain
combined-
this.
No, you got until I
No.
finish. In your theology, these three persons
Yes.
constitute God.
Yes.
Islam is not like that. These
99 attributes
Wait,
constitute
my
Allah.
goodness, These 99
Right.
attributes do
Yes.
not constitute Allah. That's the sleight of hand you're making.
That's heresy, according to
These
Islam.
people-
According to Islam.
In your
You just,
opinion.
What if he only had 90 names? Would he still be God?
Of course.
So let's just say he wasn't omnipotent anymore. Would he still be God? No. But that's one of his names.
But
That's one of his names.
Okay, so what's
So
your point?
what if he lost that name, for example?
Then
Would
he's
he
not
still be
God. Nope.
So in the same way, he can't have 90 names, he has to be 99 names.
Not necessarily. Because if you have 50 names, but those 50 names encompass all of those attributes, technically it's complete. We're using less words. Technically. Let's not get into semantics here because I'm not.
No, that's
looking
not
to-
semantics.
I'm not looking to
That's
split
just
names.
semantics.
Listen,
Very important.
This is really important. You
can't really talk with-
wait. Your argument was that three persons cannot be said to be the same God.
Yeah.
Right. I could just say that's semantics. But no, it's not. It's actually a really important thing of our faith and of yours, because in your faith, you say that Allah is in the equivalence one person. Let me finish. One person, although he has a shin, he has two right hands, he has eyes, he has a form, he has attributes. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Right. So through all of that, Allah is not one. He is many things in one form, and that's what Tawheed is.
That's wrong,
Unity.
That's wrong.
Okay.
Let me
Explain to me how that's
what
wrong.
it really is now. The difference is, I don't blame you for making this mistake, but I'll make it clear to you now. In Christianity, these three persons constitute God.
Yes.
With Islam, the difference is these 99 names do not constitute God.
They don't constitute God.
No, they do not.
So those 99 names aren't God.
My goodness, pause.
Okay. All right.
Pause. Chris, I
Okay.
know you're eager. Pause.
Yeah. All right.
These names are merely characteristics. Merely characteristics. They're not his makeup. They are not his parts. In your doctrine, these three parts come together to make the one. In Islam, it's not like that.
They're not parts.
Okay. That would mean then that would mean wait. That would mean that you can take Al-Haq, which is an attribute of Allah, and you can separate it from Allah. Can you do that? Can you take Al-Haq, the truth, and separate it from Allah? Can you do that? Because if it's not Allah, then you can separate it from Allah.
You're still conflating it.
Is the Al-Haq?
His characteristics.
Is he the truth?
So you could say, another way of wording it,
Yeah.
you might understand it, is he can demonstrate them. So for example, kindness, love, compassion, he can demonstrate all of these things.
Right.
It does not mean for a millisecond that he's made up of these things.
Right, so he isn't compassion. He isn't kindness.
You don't understand it.
No, I don't think you are.
Listen carefully, I just told you right now, he's kind.
Okay, but is he kind? As in, is he the very essence of kindness?
He is kind.
Right.
He is
so,
compassionate.
Okay.
He's almighty.
Okay.
Pause. He's all-knowing.
Yeah, and that's all within him.
He's omnipresent.
Okay.
These are his characteristics.
Yeah.
It does not mean that these things come together and make Allah. That is where you're missing it.
So are they separate from him? Because either something is him or it's something distinct from him.
The problem is, you're using your Christian...
No, I'm using philosophy.
You're not. You think
I am.
but you're not.
No, this is philosophy.
Because you're used to constituent parts making your God.
Right, okay.
That's wrong.
You are.
What's the essence of Allah then? That's
you do.
What is the essence of Allah? Is it all of his attributes?
The essence of Allah then, explain it then. Maybe that clarifies.
The essence of Allah is he's not made up. The moment you say he's made up of these parts,
right,
you've committed, in my opinion, blasphemy. Because what you're saying is like, he's a bit of put a bit of kindness on there, put a bit of omnipotence on there, put some omniscience on there. Let's put them together to make. That frame of thinking to me is wrong.
Okay.
These are not constituent parts.
Okay.
He can merely express these characteristics. So,
so are these?
So God, Allah can love you.
Yeah.
He can demonstrate His wrath to you.
Okay.
He can show you certain signs, certain things. He can show you compassion. You know. It does not mean that these things glued together make Allah.
Okay.
So
I understand, but so it says take it like it.
That's the point I'm trying to make, bro.
Okay.
And then you keep going.
Right.
If I remove one of these things, the kindness, is he still Allah?
Okay. Wait. Okay, but let's take his wrath. Let's take the attribute of wrath, right? His judgment. Okay. Is the judgment nature or is it something distinct from his nature?
Is it part of his nature?
Yeah.
Is it distinct from his nature?
Yeah.
Again, I don't really view it that way. I don't really know.
Okay. Right. So let me explain what the problem is, and then you can understand. The problem that I'm trying to get is this: is that if you say it's a part of his essence, then yes, Allah is not just a monad. He is made of many things.
I didn't say that.
I'm just saying, if you did,
It's in your subconscious brain.
If you did, right?
I didn't.
Okay. And now, if you say actually no, if his judgment is outside of him and distinct from him, then there are multiple different things outside of Allah that are eternal.
Okay,
that's the problem you have.
Frame of thinking. Hatred is an emotion.
Okay.
Created by the Creator. Everything comes from the Creator. Is created by the Creator. Is He made up of hatred? Let me think of some more negative attributes. Envy. Does envy comprise Allah? Even though He's the creator of everything. You see how I'm flooring your position? Just because these emotions exist and they were created by Him does not mean He's constituted of these emotions.
I'm talking about
Likewise, with any other emotion, brother.
I'm talking about the ones that He is.
Combined to make.
Let's talk about His actual attributes, though, not ones that are not His attributes. The ones that actually are His attributes.
It's the same thing, because I can use love in the same way. Can I not?
No.
Can I not?
No.
What is it? Love essentially is an essential part of God.
Yeah.
In your opinion.
God is love. Yes.
So
Yes.
God in essence is love.
Yes.
So if you see love, that's actually seeing God in action.
It's your opinion.
It comes from God. So again, the problem that you have is that these 99 attributes, if they are inside of Allah, He compacts that. And if they're outside of Him, Allah and 99 inside of Him.
That's what you're wrong.
So which one is it? Because you're not able to reconcile how Allah is one, but has multiple attributes.
I guess we just
So basically, Allah is
we have
in
different.
the same way that the God of the Bible is one in one way in essence and three in person.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you done?
Bro, we're not going anywhere because, bro, I'm trying
Well,
to hammer up a point.
Well,
That's the essence.
I'm trying to hammer
You didn't
up
reply
a
that.
point, and you keep repeating the same thing. Like, I'm telling you, the
Is
God
Allah
that I
more than one
serve,
anyway?
I'll say this one final time.
Yep.
The God that I serve, listen carefully.
Okay.
He's not constituted of different, let's not use semantics here, emotions, spirits of different things. Love, hatred, envy, compassion. These things do not combine together to make the creator.
Sure.
So, the moment you take away love, that's why I disagree with your frame of thinking and yours as well.
Okay.
You're saying the moment you take away one of these things and it becomes 98, does he cease being God? And my response to that is your frame is wrong. Because he is not, from the beginning, he was not made up of these things anyway. He's not made up of anything. He created these things.
Oh.
Created everything.
He created his attributes.
He created everything. Everything.
He created his
So the
attributes.
attributes are created.
Sorry?
The attributes are created.
Where did it come from? There.
Oh,
Of course,
wow.
everything's created.
Not created.
Tangible things and intangible things are created. Intangible things.
That's
Where does it come from? Where does it come from? The air.
It's the essence of
It's
God.
the essence, bro.
No creation.
Fair enough.
So Allah is
Oh.
not creation.
That's your opinion, though.
But the
God
Bible.
is, Allah is the all-knowing, He's the all-powerful. Did He create
it's not-
the all-knowing and the all-powerful?
It's a human God.
Wow.
The attributes.
Yeah, he's picturing the.
I always say he created being all-knowing,
But
because that is
That's one of his attributes.
intrinsic, right?
that is what again. I can't get through with you.
It's an essential part of Allah. He has to be all-knowing, right?
Yeah.
No, he demonstrates all-knowingness. I'll go as far as saying that.
So
But
he isn't.
when you say no, he's all-knowing, but you take it the wrong. It's your paradigm.
But he created
You
it.
think these things here are in a way glued together to make God,
But they're not.
but they're not. Not because you're asking me these 99 things. If you take away one, is he still God? Your paradigm, your frame is warped because these things anyway do not combine to make God anyway.
Okay, so there was,
Do you understand?
an instance in the existence of Allah when He wasn't all-knowing, and then He made it.
What?
So has Allah been all-knowing?
Confusing me,
Has
man.
Allah been all-knowing all the time?
knowing
So
all
there
the
was an
time.
instance when He wasn't, and then He made the attributes. I don't
It's a very
actually.
silly question.
By the way, wait.
So in other words, you're asking me, is there a point in time where Allah was Allah was all-knowing and not all-knowing?
No, what he wanted to know is if the attributes are the essence or is
You seem like a smart guy. Don't be
part
silly.
of the law.
Huh?
What he wants to say is all the attributes
I know
are the
something,
essence,
but he knows
are
that-
the essence
he's not
of
a silly guy.
Allah,
That's a silly
or
question.
is part of Allah.
He knows the
So
answer
that
to
you
that.
say it's characteristic.
Give me another question.
But
That's
the
fine.
essence is completely
that's
different.
very
It's
silly.
the being.
Here's the answer. The answer would have to be that those things, those attributes are intrinsic to Allah.
Exactly.
Essentially, they are the pure essence of His being. And so Allah is one in one way and 99 in another way. That's the answer.
Well done.
Okay?
I would also argue that the attributes contradict each other.
Well,
but that's another one.
I guess it was a good convo, but I just I agree to disagree on a lot of things.
Okay.
Good convo.
Well, I don't think you did enough reading into Christianity for your life.
You can think what you want. That's no problem.
The Lord's Prayer, we still didn't get it.
Yeah, so yeah, that was fair.
Our Father,
Go on, our Father,
who
Tell me.
who art in. Go on, you know this. You know this. You've been a Christian for 28 years. I can recite it from heart. So can he probably. I'm not going to do it. I'll do it for fun after you've gone. If you're going to leave.
I don't care what you can do, bro. I'm just here to like,
man, alright.
get different opinions, learn. That's all I'm
Well,
doing.
it's been a nice
We just think
conversation.
it's
You know,
possible, right? I don't do
I
this stuff.
My
It's embarrassing, it's
my
embarrassing.
problem is that I don't think that you looked into the faith enough before you left. I
Fair
think
enough.
you made a mistake.
Fair enough.
I think you should probably go back and look at it again.
I value your opinion highly. Thank you.
Look at the doctrine of the
value your opinion
incarnation
very highly.
and the Trinity.
Thank you,
and
sir.
read it again.
Thank you.
It might make more sense this time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You want a hug now?
I don't want to touch you, huh?
Yeah.
We love you.
God forbid. God forbid.
Will you shake? Will you shake? Should we end it there? Will you shake my hand?
Do you want
I was supposed to do it.
like a
it's all love, man. Obviously, we get passionate about this because it's what we believe in.
but
It's
we
about
seek
salvation,
control, right?
For sure, man.
We seek control. That's the most true. One.
A year and a half.
A year and a half? Oh, man. Go back.
I'm still learning.
Go back.
I can't do that.
Oh, man. Trust me. Like, you're gonna learn some things, man, that are just like absolutely like dumb about this faith.
If you were smart now, you'd ask me certain things like, what type of things did you find out in Christianity or made you leave Christianity?
I did ask you that.
So why would you confidently say? Why would you confidently say that if you knew Christianity, if you knew certain things in the faith, you wouldn't have left? You're presuming a lot.
Because the exact reasons you highlighted that caused you to leave all have answers that you didn't find.
Are you sure?
Yes.
No one's giving the answer till today.
What?
I've spoken to many Muslim scholars.
Oh God, Muslim
And
scholars.
listen, hold on.
Okay.
It works both sides of the equation. Because the Christian scholars,
Would you go to a Hindu to learn about Islam?
Christian scholars, Christian.
Can you tell me who they were? Like, just the names.
Christian pastors, Lagos Salam.
Can you name me?
One second.
Who did you speak to?
One second.
Who did you speak to? Like,
Your names?
yeah, or your YouTube channels, whatever you want to.
They're people closely related to me and my family, but they're very knowledgeable. So pastors and priests, they're pastors.
Okay.
You know, many. And likewise,
You should check out some stuff on YouTube and some actual scholars.
I've done that as well.
Dr. William Lane Craig.
Pause. What I'm trying to say is, I've heard both sides. Wait, bro, be patient. What I'm trying to say is, I've heard both sides of the coin, and I chose to accept one.
Yeah, but you said earlier that this is the first time you've heard answers to some of these things.
Sorry?
You said earlier this is the first time you've heard answers to some earlier, just a few moments ago.
First time when?
Said,
Now?
Yeah. Unless you
not from
misspoke.
you guys, no.
Okay,
Maybe
you
you heard
misspoke then. All right, fine. Well, my point is that.
Everything I've heard before, and I just can't reconcile it. You haven't given me anything new, respectfully. What I'm trying to say now is that I've got my reasons for leaving Christianity, and again, I'm not trying to point school, I'm not trying to be different. I literally interpret it as I see it, and based off a balance of probabilities, to me, there's more of a probability that Jesus was a messenger and subservient to the creator of everything than Jesus being equal to God. There are more clues that allude to that than clues that allude to your position. And that's why let's agree to disagree.
From the Bible.
You were born again Christian or no?
Yeah. My whole family is Christian. They go to church every Sunday. I used to go to church every Sunday, bro. Like,
Well, you say that.
You know Jesus. You need to know Jesus.
pardon?
You need to know Jesus personally.
I know him personally.
You know him.
Like, have a chat with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Prayer.
I used to
That's
pray
a
all the time.
relationship.
He will answer your prayers.
Father.
That's what shown you.
That way God reveals as a father because
I say the same thing. If you read the Quran and you pray and you look for the truth, you find the truth in the Quran. I say the same thing to you. What you said to me, I'll reciprocate that. So where do we go from
Well, the problem I have with the Quran is that it affirms the Torah and the Injil.
It confirms,
we know.
it does confirm the Quran and
Yeah,
the Injil, but not what we have today. What we have today has been corrupted. So I agree with
Okay.
that.
When Muhammad gave the revelation, was the Torah and the Injil corrupted before or after then?
The corruption is a continuous process. So it's gone through various councils, various
Okay,
institutions.
but where? Like, still valid at the time of Muhammad?
Any
Evidence?
Yeah.
Chancellor done. Do your research.
What happened
We
at
should know
Nicaea?
this.
Oh God, you want to answer properly? Okay.
Sorry?
No, listen. Good question. What happened in Nicaea? Out of curiosity.
Yeah,
Say what
curiosity,
happened.
yeah.
A rough synopsis?
Yeah, rough synopsis. Yeah.
So under the Constantinople rule, priests, deacons, in essence, there was a dispute on the concept of the divine, or shall I say, the Trinitarian concept was in dispute. So there was a council in which deacons and an official vote or consensus was taken to what the official doctrine shall be. When that consensus was taken, it was then prescribed that this is the official doctrine based off the vote. And I don't think what I've read multiple sources alluding to this. These councils are, you can Wikipedia this further.
I know about the councils.
So that's an example of one of how innovation has been made over time. This is one example of innovation, bro. So what I'm trying to say to you is, look.
But what was innovated?
That's not innovation, though.
What was innovated?
Yeah, what was innovated?
Well, they change it. They don't change anything.
Wait, nothing.
We said how so?
Yes.
Because the actual, what's it called? It's the I think the Trinitarian Creed. I think it's actually got, it's like on the Roman Catholic website. It's actually written there of how, I don't know word for word, I used to, but my memory, I don't remember. I don't really need to remember. But in essence, it states that they are co-equal, co-divine. They should not be, what's the word, confounded. And yeah, I don't know word for word, but some key attributes I know. So yeah, they are co-equal, which I dispute completely. So Jesus said the Father is greater, bro. That in essence destroys it.
You're saying that before 325, Christians largely believed that they weren't co-equal.
But before that time, Christians were Unitarian. You know that, right? It's only it was after that. Pause.
Any group, any proof? Was it in Ethiopia, in Egypt, any?
Yeah, any proof. Well, I have proof of that.
So Christians were Unitarian.
I can show you proof online.
Yeah.
I've done much of this research. It goes as far as this, right? Not only were they Unitarian, the result of the findings of this council, after they introduced this Trinitarian concept, it led to severe, intense persecution and murder of Unitarian Christians because they were seen as going against the grain. And I've read this in multiple sources. If you want to dispute that, that's fine. But according to what I've read, if you want to open your phone right now, you can do so. But when you go research whether or not post these councils, Unitarian Christians underwent severe persecution and murder.
What actually happened is surprising.
Pause. I must have been in double because according to what I've read, they underwent severe persecution, murder. They were cast. A lot of them went into hiding. A lot of them went into exile because they were cast out. They were seen as being what's the word? Like heretics, yes. They were seen as being that. The original Christians who actually performed Christianity as it should have been performed.
Wait.
How
what was prescribed. What was the result of the Council of Nicaea? Like in terms of the vote, what was the vote?
Bro, I've just told you what it was. Do you want details? I'm not going to
I actually want details. No, I want details.
So, I just said it, bro. I'm not repeating.
No, what I mean is I want to go in a little bit of it because
that they all make.
Basically, you understand how many bishops were there, right? And what the vote was.
I don't know how many bishops there were.
Right. One of the
how many there were.
So check it out.
318, if I remember correctly, and 2 of them opposed.
Why is that relevant though?
So basically,
so only 2 bishops.
318 bishops from all across the fragmented Christian world, and they voted on harmonizing how exactly Jesus is divine. Okay. Is he exactly the same substance as the Father, or is he of similar substance?
Okay.
And out of 318, only 2 voted against the idea that he was the same substance as the Father.
So
in order for them to reach that conclusion, it would entail that before they got to the council, there was already a widely held belief that Jesus Christ was of the same substance as the Father.
Do you think he made a point?
Yeah, that's a massive point.
These guys are ridiculous.
No, he's ignoring the number that said yes at the council
then
went back to their own ways afterwards,
Not only that,
what are you on about?
Even if I take your
you know what I'm on about.
After Arianism became popular again.
But even if I hold your position, what does that mean? Do you think you made a point or something?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, he just established wide-held belief.
Okay.
Yeah.
If a priest believes something, does that mean it's true?
A bishop across the entire
Christian world.
From where? Like from Rome to Antioch, from Egypt to
Ethiopia, everywhere.
So they're the epitome of truth. Priests.
So no, bishops.
Bishops. They're semantics.
That's like getting all of the sheikhs in Islam together and like all of them agree with it. Yeah.
What the bishop said.
Wait. Do what? Sorry?
That's like getting all of the sheikhs of Sunni Islam from all 4 madhabs and getting them all to confirm 2 of them that a certain thing is correct.
We don't need to do that.
But if it happens, you would be like, look, that's
we
consensus.
Have it written in the books.
Wait, no, you depend on Ijma. You depend on Ijma. You depend on Ijma. You depend on Ijma of the consensus of the scholars.
I'd go as far as saying, even if they follow what was written in their book, they would denounce the Trinity straight away. It's not there. It's not scriptural.
Show me Akida. Show me Akida in your book. Show me Akida.
All Trinity is there.
Exactly.
Show me Akida.
It's read into all eisegesis.
Show me Akida in your book.
Where are your 5-day prayers?
Where are your 5-day prayers? Where's the Miraj? Where is Muhammad said to be sinless? Where's the Miraj in the Quran? Tell me.
Do you know what that is?
Do you know what the Miraj is?
I don't even know where. I'll be honest with you.
Man. The problem is,
wait. I'm not all knowing. I know when I see a contradiction.
No. You're telling me that the has to have the Trinity explicitly. I'm saying your entire religion is based off multiple concepts that are not explicit in the Quran, and you go, well, I don't know. I don't know, man. You don't know. The point is if you're going to do that, stop saying that there's no problem. There's a problem. Is Muhammad sinless?
What, sorry?
Is Muhammad sinless?
What's that got to do with?
Is that a part of your deen? Is that a part of your deen?
What's that got to do with the faith?
Because according to the Quran, you have to affirm everything that Muhammad said, yes?
Our main precept for the faith is
yes.
Tawheed.
Is that you? No, it's that you agree. No, show me in the Quran. Show me in the Quran.
That's the main doctrine.
Show me in the Quran.
I said that
where does it show? Where does it say it
it's not the main
explicitly?
doctrine, so it doesn't have to be explicit.
Right.
Only your main doctrines have to be explicit.
In the Quran,
things
you are
that take you to heaven or hell have to be explicit.
What are the 6 pillars of Islam? What are the 6 pillars?
I don't believe in.
You don't.
I believe in Jesus. You're wrong.
There's no 6 pillars of Islam.
Are you mad?
Then you have to
believe in Jesus.
Yes.
You believe what he says.
In Islam, you don't believe in Isa alayhi salam. You don't believe he's God.
Oh, 6 pillars of Islam. Yeah, that's what it was.
A random story.
For example, tell me when he was in front of Pontius Pilatus. What he said.
Tell me anything about Isa. Tell me where he was born. Tell me where he went. Tell me when he ascended into heaven. Tell me what he taught. Anything.
Quran tells you nothing.
The Quran doesn't tell you every aspect. It doesn't give a full biography of every
Quran.
Well,
the Quran tells you
the Quran does say it's an in detail book.
That is what the Quran is a guide for salvation. It is not. It's not.
So how can you believe in somebody?
Can we say one more thing?
The Quran is not each prophet. The Quran just contains what is necessary for your salvation.
But it doesn't tell you about the.
Do you understand now?
Which is necessary for your salvation.
Well, then how can you believe in somebody?
It doesn't talk about hard. It doesn't talk about
the Quran.
And this has been explained. He just said.
I've said it once. I do not need to know the man's biography.
The Quran is what?
What the Quran has
The
told me
Sunnah
about
is
him.
out.
What?
Yes.
Because the Quran has told me
The
what I
Quran
need
is
to know
he
about
just
Jesus.
said
He's
in his
told me
own words.
about
Matter. He's the one that decides the religion. But he's the one who makes it honest. We're talking to him. We're talking to him. He just said. And he also said he's not all knowing. I know that. He just said anything that is not.
Wait, no. But in Surah 5, ayah 48, it affirms the gospel. In Surah 5, ayah 48, it affirms the gospel.
How's the way to salvation?
Not the gospel. We have
Not
to
yours. I'm not attributing.
Show me.
It cannot say the Quran. Not the gospel we have in 2022 when it was written back then. It makes no sense. What you're saying.
Wait. So you believe that it's the gospel of then, yes?
Pardon?
The gospel of then is what you think it refers to, yes?
All the corruptions.
Right, we have manuscripts of the gospel 200 years, or actually 300 years before that date. Done.
But what I know is that
The Codex Sinaiticus, the Codex Vaticanus, the Codex Alexandrinus.
has been altered big time by multiple
You said that the first
So it doesn't
corruption happened in
mention praying
325.
5 times a day.
believe. I don't
Then Muhammad affirmed the corrupted book.
The Sunnah tells us how.
So Muhammad was alive after
5
about
times
4,
a day.
after about 7 councils. Muhammad was alive after about
Washing.
7 councils had been had. You claim in these councils corruption happened. Why was Muhammad confirming a book that had already been through 7 stages of corruption?
No, the Quran.
No. Listen, don't do that. We pray to God.
Not.
Yeah?
If God was of that time. You can understand. You see when.
Eisegesis. That's eisegesis.
It is eisegesis. Yep.
That the Torah in the century was being talked about.
Century.
I'm talking about the Torah.
So that's different. I don't know much about the history of that.
To read a Quran. That's the factor that in the 7th century the Torah existed and it was
Yep.
in the
I know for a
Bible.
fact Allah was not people to read what you describe as salvation.
Prove it. Prove it. Show me from the Quran. Show me from the Quran.
I literally made one tiny point. You go, my friend.
I know Allah would not appeal for the people to read the Quran. By definition, the Quran is the
No, he tells us to. He tells us to in 548.
So you're saying Allah appeals to the people to not
been revealed when that verse was revealed. Yeah. That is my response. The revelation hadn't been received. 7th century. So it was valid. You're saying new revelation came.
But the Bible's complete now, is it valid? And my point is that it's been corrupted
We're talking about the 7th century. This is a specific. So you.
Show me. Do you know what it says? Sure. See, you're putting faith in him. You don't even know. Get it then. He'll give you 10 minutes.
So these are the holes. I'm
telling you.
The holes that exist when people believe narratives and cannot prove it historically.
What are you implying there, bro? Just get to the point.
Should we say it out loud? Read it out loud. Read it out loud.
Say, all people of the scripture.
Okay.
You are understanding, or in brackets, on nothing until you uphold the law of the Torah, the gospel, and what has been revealed to you from your Lord, i.e. the Quran. And that which has been revealed to you from your Lord will surely increase many of them in transgression and belief. So do not grieve over the disbelieving people.
Okay, where in there does it say the whole of the Torah is valid?
What?
Where does it say the whole of the
On nothing until you uphold the law of the Torah and the gospel and what has been revealed.
That we should follow the Torah?
So Allah, yes, that's exactly what he's saying. You're literally doing eisegesis, it's your own text.
Hold on. You say that. Ibn Hamza says it's corrupt. The Quran unequivocally affirms the validity of the source.
Yes, absolutely.
Unequivocally.
And it gets worse if you look at the hadith. And then look at the hadith, it's even worse.
In the hadith, let me share this point. In the hadith, there is a situation where a man is being judged by Muhammad, and he commands people to wait.
He's actually being
Bro, I've got it for you. I got it for you.
Yeah, let me finish.
I got it for you.
Let me finish. You can read it if you want to.
Yeah, I'll read it for you.
Bring it out.
Yeah, wait. So this is a story, right? Right. The Jews came to Allah's messenger and told him that a man and a woman from amongst them had committed illegal sexual intercourse. Allah's messenger said to them, "What do you find in the Torah about the legal punishment of stoning?" They replied, "We announce their crime and lash them." And the response is, "You are telling a lie. Torah contains the order of Rajam, which is a verse of stoning." They bought and opened the Torah. That's weird. They bought and opened the Torah in front of Muhammad. They bought and opened the Torah, and one of them solaced his hands on the verse of Rajam, that is the verse of stoning, and read the verses preceding and following it. Abdullah ibn Salim said to him, "Lift your hand." When he lifted his hands, the verse of Rajam was written there. They said, "Muhammad has told the truth. The Torah has the verse of Rajam. The Prophet had given the order for both of them to be stoned to death."
Refuted.
Wait, let's see if it's Sahih. That is Sahih al-Bukhari. Sahih al-Bukhari 3635.
The Torah existed.
Done.
He held it.
That's from the Quran and from the Hadith. That is it.
I don't understand how you think you scored a point.
I just quoted Hadith. Sahih Hadith.
You quoted a Hadith.
Muhammad had the Torah in his hand.
That particular bit is in the version of the Torah that they had.
That's
it
not what
Muhammad affirms the Torah. That's what Muhammad affirms the Torah.
It's called eisegesis.
Yeah.
The Quran never says the opposite.
No, it just confirms that ruling. Let me say it again, once more for the cheap seats. It just confirms that ruling existed in the version of the Torah that they had.
There'd be the authoritative verse. There'd be no point in Muhammad placing the Torah. He would instead bring a Quran and say, "Hey, in the Quran it says X. The verse about Rajam. Use that one and complete this God the Torah." But it doesn't say that. Muhammad brings without the Torah because the Torah is valid.
Refute it.
This is bad. This is bad. You're completely lost.
What it also proves is that the Torah existed in the 7th century.
Yep, and Muhammad
had access to it. That's
It
what,
proves. Hold on. It proves.
He had the
He
Torah.
literally just said he picked up the
It
Torah.
proves a version of the Torah existed at that time. That's all it proves. It doesn't prove
And it was
the original. How can the original Torah be there?
Did we just say
All
that?
right, hold on.
Did anyone?
Is it? Hold on.
Did anyone say original Torah?
Wait.
Did anyone say original Torah?
No one said that. No one said
Now
that.
you're changing the goalposts. Now you're changing the goalposts.
You're changing the goalposts. No one said that. You deviated. You deviated.
It was the Torah.
You're now changing the goalposts. Nobody said it was the original Torah.
No, don't go, jump in. We need to bring it down a little bit. Energy's gone too high. It was the Torah that Muhammad recognized. It was valid.
Context of the book.
It was a Torah, a version of the Torah they had.
A copy was sufficient.
The book
It was a copy. It was sufficient.
It was a copy. How can it be the original Torah?
Who said it was the original Torah? It was a copy of the original.
No, a copy
Nobody has the original.
a copy of the original.
and claim it from God.
You can count that as an original.
My position is this.
Because it's a direct copy.
It's an original.
So you have
No, it was a version. It was a version. It was a version.
Haven't you at the same time? We need to stop. Let them go. Let them go. Me and you have spoke for days.
I know.
The Bible cannot say, the Quran cannot say the Bible is wrong. Firstly, when the Bible had not even been completed.
it had been good point. It had been.
Wait, by the time of Muhammad?
Yeah, it had been.
Oh gosh, yeah, well then, yeah.
It had been.
Not the Bible we have today, my friend.
Okay, so
I can promise you it's not the same.
Do you know what the Codex?
Or let me be specific, the Injil as well.
The
Specifically.
Injil, the Gospel, and the Gospel as
It
well.
was definitely not the same.
Okay,
It was
which
the
one?
same.
Which
That's what
one
I'm saying.
then?
It was not the
Which
same.
one? Which one? Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John?
It was not
So-
the same thing.
So what the Injil is, effectively, is a compilation of different books and letters, including Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but also all the Paul's letters to the epistles in different churches in
So why isn't Acts called the Gospel? Why isn't the letters of Paul and Peter and all of those? Why aren't they called the Gospel? Why is the four canonical?
But what you have
know,
is the four gospel accounts. These are the accounts of Jesus Christ
according
during
to
the incarnation.
According to.
Yes, according to those who
According to,
yeah.
Sorry.
Do you know what according to tells you?
According to,
Do you know what according to tells
Well,
you?
what does it tell us? Go on.
Tells you two
Well,
things.
Go on then, tell- let's
Tells you
listen,
two
let's
things.
listen. Go on then.
Number
Go on.
one,
Yeah.
that the person who's writing it
Right.
it's not his words.
Incorrect.
What? How? No, that's what?
If I'm saying,
I cannot write a
if,
book
if I'm
from your
saying,
perspective
hold on,
and say something
hold
to
on.
you, it's not
I
right.
would say, according to you,
Yeah.
there's the Father, Son, Holy Ghost. I'm not saying that.
No,
I'm
no.
saying
But
according
if
to
you've ever
you.
read the
other
Gospels,
thing that
you
I'm
will
saying,
find that the
when I'm
Gospels
saying
talk
according
about the
to,
entire
when I'm
life of
saying
Jesus
according
Christ.
to,
So you cannot talk
when
about
I'm
the whole
saying
of Jesus
according
Christ
to,
from the
I
perspective
am
of
saying
one at a time, one at a
when
time, one at a
when
time,
I'm
one at a
saying
time.
according to, I'm saying firstly these aren't
Do
my
you know
words,
where
they're
in the
yours.
Old
And
Testament
second thing- and
the angel of the
second-
Lord is referred to as God?
And the second thing, well,
Many places. So
believe
Judges
that
2,
one. And the
Judges
second thing I'm
6.
saying
You
is,
can show that
I
to
don't
him because
believe that
I had a
that's
debate with him,
what
but I forgot like where it is. But I tried to like look it up. I couldn't find it. But,
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see if it gets there. If it gets there, we'll bring it up. But
Possible for somebody
like,
who
that's the thing,
wasn't
like, I
Matthew
forgot the
or wasn't
verses.
disciple themselves to
Because
write
it's
an
like
entire
where the angel
account
of the
of the
Lord is
life and
referred
ministry
to
of
as
Jesus from the perspective
That's from Genesis
It's
31.
impossible.
When
If
he
you like
says,
me writing a
I'm
book
the
about
God
your
of
life from your perspective, but I can't. You know
the
that.
angel of the Lord said
There you go. So effectively, I'm not just saying that every bit of information in the four Gospels are lies that were made up by somebody else.
I had a debate with him.
Or let's just say,
no, what about writing a story
it would
about
be
his life?
like me writing a story about your life from your perspective without you
And
being there
he
to
even
coach me
wrote
on
the
the
Jew.
And
It's
So I asked
and
impossible.
what
Jew,
part of the
and
Gospels
the Jew
are from
said
the
that.
perspective of the
All of them.
so-called authors?
Matthew's from Matthew.
Matthew's from Matthew. So Jesus, when he was walking down the road, right, and he saw the tax collector Matthew, and if it's Matthew saying this is what happened, he said that Jesus was walking down the road and he saw a tax collector called Matthew, and that Matthew went up to Jesus, and so on and so on. In the third person, how can that be from the perspective of Matthew?
Wait. Hang on, wait.
There is no
Wait.
convention that does that.
Wait. That speaks in the third person.
Absolutely.
The Quran does that.
The Quran does that.
Yes.
Yet the Quran talks about Allah in the third person.
Yes, absolutely.
Jesus, you wrote the Torah.
Wait. Julius
Have you read the Quran?
Caesar's works. He talks
you
about
read the
himself in the
Quran?
third
I think
person.
I have.
What did you just say now?
The Quran repeatedly refers to Allah in the third person consistently. You claim this is the divine revelation of God. God is talking about himself. People do this.
What did you think about the Quran?
Huh?
Did you think about the
A bunch of dudes who had like very poor understandings of.
I don't
Who wrote the Quran?
It's not what I think.
We don't know. It's by anonymous
According
authors.
to Islamic sources, it was the companion of the prophets who actually put the pen to the page.
Yeah. Pen to the page is neither here nor there.
Wait,
the
what?
Quran,
That's how it's read.
the Quran is a
Quran.
recitational text,
Yes.
not a textual. It's
So
not,
was the gospel. So was the gospel.
No, it wasn't.
Why? Of course it was. It was literally Jesus speaking. Literally Jesus speaking.
None of it was.
All of it.
So Jesus never spoke.
Hold on.
Jesus never spoke.
The only bits that you can come anywhere near saying was recitational is the
It's all of
Torah, is the Old
That's a lie.
Testament, is the.
That's a lie.
This guy's been a Muslim for a year.
Before the
You
gospel
need
written
to
down,
understand what you
recited
believe.
instead.
Exactly.
You're saying
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That Muhammad
You
produced
just know enough.
the
Go back home, my
revelation
G,
based on
and
what
read
you
some
heard.
more. That's all.
So are you saying Muhammad is the narrator of the
Yes.
Quran?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You might know something about the
I'm
Quran.
asking you what you think.
You're trying to
It
ask
ain't
me the
working.
same way you're using slang.
I don't believe the Quran came from
think this
the
conversation, I'm holding my own.
Really? Who wrote Surah Al-Fatiha? Who wrote Surah Al-Fatiha?
Keep on coming
Come on
up
then.
with
Give me an answer.
We're
Give me an
not talking
answer.
about
Give me an
the
answer.
Torah right now. We're talking
Well,
about
no, we've already done this. We've told you who wrote the Bible account. So tell me who wrote Surah Al-Fatiha.
I'm
The
saying
word,
that's
the
a lie.
contents, the actual
Saying
content
that's a lie.
What? Surah Al-Fatiha?
They claim it came from an
What? Who wrote Surah Al-Fatiha? Can you hear what I'm saying? Who wrote Surah Al-Fatiha?
Holding your own.
Well, you have lost. You have lost. Immediately you lost. Immediately you lost.
He's like the male Hatuna.
Are you
He's like the male
guys
Hatuna.
So who is the angel subservient to?
No, what? Afraid of this?
Who do you think?
Afraid of this?
Answer him then.
Afraid of this?
Answer me then. Answer me.
Answer him.
We didn't run from your point. We answered your point.
No, you didn't.
Yes, we did. We
No,
told
you
you.
didn't.
Matthew,
No.
Mark, Luke, and John are
And
those
I'm
who
saying
it's accounted
those are
to.
anonymous. Nobody knows who they are.
Right, in that case then,
You've
Surah
got nothing to
Al-Fatiha
do
is
with it.
also anonymous.
So Surah Al-Jinn, Surah
Where does it say? Where does it say? Well, do you believe it? Show me. Show me in the Quran where it tells you who wrote it. Show me who wrote it. Show me. Where does it say, I am Abdul, and Abdul is writing this surah?
No, from one.
No, your hadith tells you it was written down. So who wrote it? Who wrote it? Who wrote it? That's your hadith. Do you want me to get the hadith? Let me get the hadith. Because you cannot make the claims about the Bible if you cannot back up your own Quran. You are burying your own Quran.
I'm trying to explain, you're telling me, wait, I can explain now.
It's like a Sahih hadith
I love that how you learn a few
114
Bukhari, Muslim, and all of a sudden you're an expert.
Write down bits of the Quran himself.
Can I answer now?
He was sitting in his bed and asked for pen and paper
Now.
to write down from the
What
Quran.
Fatiha is, yeah?
But then he was told no.
It's
but
more
by
like,
Umar.
what's the word?
And he wrote it down.
I need to up my vocabulary. It's more like
114.
an affirmation or more divine decree.
Look it up.
It's telling you what
It's
is.
there. Huh?
As Muslims, pause, my guys.
To help them in
Yeah,
their
but
life.
he asked for pen and paper for a reason.
When?
Just to give them advice.
On
It's
his
divine,
deathbed.
my
Yes.
guys.
Nobody knew
We
what
recite
he
it.
was going to write.
Because
So he could write.
we see it as
No.
So I started looking for the Quran and collecting it from what was written on
couldn't
palm
read or
stalks,
write.
the white
Yeah?
stones.
Then
He couldn't read or write.
okay.
So
You ready?
what
Wait,
was he going to write?
Listen,
Yeah, I just showed you.
let's
I just
come back
showed you.
to this.
I, no,
at the end.
you can't deal with me, can you?
For some
I
reason.
don't want to deal with
But
it.
why not?
Well, they just say,
He's
sorry,
only a man.
Chris, I can't deal with this.
only a man.
I have to go.
No, I can't deal with this. I
Right,
don't want
so
to
in
deal
that
with
case,
you.
then deal with
Why
this.
Like I
Would it
said,
help if I gave it to him?
I'll answer if he gives me the chance.
Okay.
All right, give it to him. Here we go. So read this bit where it
If you're
says.
gonna play these games,
No, I just want to show him the
How's it a
sources.
game? This is your hadith.
This is your hadith.
Sahih
This
grade.
is your
It's a
hadith.
game.
How is it
It's
a
a
game?
game.
You have to
It's a
affirm these
game.
as a Christian. I'm sorry, as a Muslim.
As a Muslim, it's your belief.
Are you a Quran only Muslim?
Elements that are you guys studying.
Then you affirm
No,
this.
descriptive terminologies.
have
Some
to
aspects.
affirm.
Yes, you do.
Can you choose not to?
Such as
Do you want to cast away the entirety of Al-Bukhari? Do you want to do it?
the parts that are descriptive.
Do you want to do it?
You asking some
Do
ridiculous
you want to cast away the entire
You're
hadith book?
asking some. I'm not engaging
In that
with
case, there's nothing wrong with me
I'm not
reading this to
engaging
you.
with
Yep.
this.
And then it says
This question.
So I
like
started
said,
looking
Okay.
I'm not
for.
engaging with this
Please
guy.
listen.
Yeah?
So
I'm not
I started
this is
looking
his
for
question.
the Quran
I'm not
and
engaging with
collecting
it.
it from what was written on one second, on palm stalks, thin white narrative, and also from men who knew it by heart.
Right. That's all you need to read. But listen, that is authentic hadith.
Questions, old man.
That's it. That's Sahih al-Bukhari.
Old man.
You have the ability to pray.
Old man.
He means it lovingly. Young man. We'll call you young man. Young man, come back.
I believe that you have the intellect to do it.
Did you just give us a finger, or did I
don't know.
I don't know.
Whatever.
That's
weird. I don't get why you say something and they become scared. That's a bit weird.
Because he knows where it's going. He knows there's all of the clients formally anonymous, because he doesn't say, and that's the same criteria that applies to the Bible. So bring it up to them. They are arguing against their own Quran. Also, what's really powerful about this is it says that there were parts of the Quran that were dangerously close to being lost. But they couldn't get everyone to come in and tell them the Quran, because they didn't have enough people to do that. They had to go to written materials. So if they try and say the oral tradition was perfect, it was fine, no, they couldn't. The oral tradition couldn't survive. They had to, when they were compiling the Quran through Abu Bakr, they had to get things that were written down.
Yes. And the reason they're right now in the first place was because in the following battle of Your Mama, a lot of the reciters were also fighters.
Yeah.
My goodness.
So that's why.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's all in that hadith, so it's a powerful hadith.
It's all there. Whatever.
Yeah.
The verse
It's a bit strange. He said one thing and he said like getting panicked.
Oh, sorry, man. I cannot see it. Yeah, let's do a wrap up. Yeah. Just point the camera at me, whatever cameras are at me. Do you want to do a wrap up as well? Because you were.
He's still here actually. I want to see if I can grab him.
All right, fair enough. I'm just going to quickly. All right. Just as a quick wrap up as to what happened there. We were having a chat with a polite Muslim gentleman who was talking about his faith and why he left Christianity. I have some serious questions about whether he was a Christian, because he didn't know the Lord's Prayer, and he was apparently a Christian for 28 years. I don't know, it's difficult. But either way, I feel that he didn't have answers to the issues that we were raising, and I think he was quite naive in his faith. I hope he looks into Christianity more and he comes to know the truth. And if he was a Christian, I hope he comes back to Christianity, because it is the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus is Lord. Have a happy Lent.